I was folding tiny onesies on our bed, my swollen belly pressing against the laundry basket, when his phone buzzed on the nightstand. The message preview made my blood run cold. "Last night was amazing. I can't wait to see you again. She doesn't have to know." My hand started shaking so badly I dropped the baby clothes. Our daughter kicked inside me, as if she could feel my world collapsing. But to understand how I ended up standing in our nursery, 8 months pregnant and reading messages that would destroy everything I thought I knew about my marriage, I need to take you back 2 years. Back to when I thought I had found my forever. Back to when I believed in the man who promised to build a family with me. Back before I knew what real strength actually meant. My name is Sarah, and I met Marcus at a friend's barbecue in the summer of 2022. I was 28, working as a pediatric nurse, and had recently moved to Portland after a bad breakup. I wasn't looking for anything serious. I was focused on building my career, finding my own apartment, creating a life that was entirely mine. But then there was Marcus. He was standing by the grill, laughing at something our mutual friend Derek had said, and when he turned and our eyes met, I felt something I'd only read about in romance novels. He had this warm, genuine smile that reached his eyes. Dark hair that curled slightly at the ends. Strong hands that looked like they could fix anything. He walked over and introduced himself, and we talked for 3 hours straight. That first conversation covered everything. He told me about his work as a civil engineer, how he'd grown up in Seattle, his close relationship with his mom after his father passed away when Marcus was 16. He asked about my nursing career, seemed genuinely interested in the stories I told about the kids I worked with. He made me laugh until my stomach hurt. When he asked for my number at the end of the night, I didn't hesitate. Our first date was at this little Italian place in the Pearl District. He showed up 15 minutes early with flowers. Not roses but sunflowers, because he remembered me mentioning they were my favorite. We closed down the restaurant, talking until the staff literally started stacking chairs around us. He walked me to my car, kissed me on the cheek, and texted me before I even got home. "I had the best time tonight. Can I see you again soon?" The relationship moved fast, but it felt right. Within 3 months, we were spending every weekend together. Within 6 months, I had a drawer at his place. Within a year, he proposed on the same beach where we'd had our first weekend getaway. It was sunset, pink and orange streaking across the sky, and he got down on one knee in the sand and said, "Sarah, you're my person. I want to build a life with you. I want to grow old with you. Will you marry me?" I said yes before he even finished the question. We got married 6 months later, in October 2023. Small ceremony, just close friends and family, in this beautiful garden venue with string lights and fall leaves. I wore my grandmother's veil. Marcus cried during his vows. His mom hugged me and whispered, "You've made him so happy. Thank you for loving my son." I felt like the luckiest woman alive. We bought a little craftsman house in northeast Portland. 3 bedrooms, a yard that Marcus promised to turn into a garden. Hardwood floors that creaked in all the right places. We spent weekends at Home Depot, painting walls, picking out furniture, making it ours. Marcus built bookshelves for the living room. I hung photos of us throughout the house. We adopted a rescue dog named Moose, a big goofy lab mix who followed us from room to room. Life was good. Better than good. We both worked hard during the week. Me pulling 12-hour shifts at the hospital, him managing construction projects across the city, but we protected our time together. Friday nights were date nights, even if that just meant takeout and a movie on the couch. Sunday mornings were for sleeping in and making breakfast together. We talked about everything. We laughed constantly. We had that easy comfort that comes from truly knowing someone. After we'd been married about 6 months, we started talking about having a baby. I was 30, Marcus was 32, and it felt like the right time. We weren't in any rush, but we weren't preventing it either. I remember the conversation where we decided to officially start trying. We were lying in bed on a Saturday morning, Moose sprawled across our feet, and Marcus traced circles on my stomach and said, "I think you'd be an amazing mom." "You think?" Tease. "I know," he corrected. "I see how you are with your patience. How patient you are, how nurturing. I can't wait to see you with our baby." "Our baby," I repeated, smiling. "That sounds perfect." Took us 4 months to get pregnant. 4 months of hoping, of taking tests, of Marcus rubbing my back when I got my period and felt disappointed. When I finally saw those 2 pink lines in May 2024, I screamed so loud Marcus came running from the shower, dripping wet, thinking something was wrong. "We're pregnant," I managed to say, waving the test at him. His face transformed. Pure joy. He picked me up and spun me around, both of us laughing and crying. He kept saying, "We're having a baby," over and over like he couldn't believe it. We called his mom immediately. She cried too. We told my parents at Sunday dinner that week, giving them a onesie that said, "Grandma and Grandpa's little blessing." My mom hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. Those first few months of pregnancy were magical. Marcus went to every appointment. He read pregnancy books before bed. When I started showing, he'd rest his hand on my belly constantly, waiting to feel the baby move. We found out at 20 weeks we were having a girl, and Marcus's eyes filled with tears in the ultrasound room. "A daughter," he whispered, squeezing my hand. We started preparing the nursery immediately. Painted it a soft sage green. Marcus assembled the crib and changing table while I washed tiny clothes and organized the closet. We picked out a name, Lily Rose. Lily for my grandmother who passed away when I was 12, Rose for his late father Robert. We made lists of everything we needed. We took birthing classes together, where Marcus practiced breathing exercises and learned how to support me during labor. I was happy. Blissfully, completely happy. I loved my job, loved my husband, loved the life growing inside me. I'd wake up every morning feeling grateful. This was everything I'd ever wanted. I had no idea it was all about to fall apart. Looking back now, I can see the signs. They were subtle at first, easy to explain away, especially when you're exhausted and dealing with pregnancy symptoms. But they were there. The first thing I noticed was around month 5 of my pregnancy. Marcus started working late more frequently. As an engineer overseeing construction projects, late hours weren't unusual. There were always inspections, meetings with contractors, problems that needed immediate attention. But the frequency increased. It went from once or twice a week to 3 or 4 times. Sometimes 5. "Big project in Beaverton," he'd say, kissing my forehead as he headed out the door at 7 p.m. "Probably won't be back until 11. Don't wait up." I didn't think much of it initially. His firm had recently won a major commercial development contract. I knew he was under pressure to perform. As a nurse, I understood demanding jobs. So I'd heat up leftovers for myself, watch TV with Moose curled beside me, and fall asleep before Marcus got home. In the morning, he'd tell me about the issues they dealt with. Foundation problems, permit delays, difficult subcontractors. It all sounded legitimate. The second sign was his phone. Marcus had never been protective of his phone before. It would sit on the counter while he showered, on the nightstand while he slept, on the coffee table while we watched movies. I could pick it up to check the time or find a restaurant and he wouldn't blink. We trusted each other completely. Or so I thought. Around month 6 of my pregnancy that changed. Suddenly his phone was always with him. in his pocket, face down on surfaces. He'd take it to the bathroom. He'd grab it immediately if it buzzed. Once, I picked it up to see what time it was while he was in the shower, and he came out in a towel, dripping wet, and asked, "What are you doing with my phone?" "Just checking the time," I said, confused by his tone. "Oh." He relaxed but grabbed it from my hand. "Sorry, just work stuff. Sensitive project information. You know." I let it go. But it felt off. The third sign was the emotional distance. Marcus had been so attentive during early pregnancy, constantly asking how I felt, rubbing my feet, bringing home my cravings before I even asked. But as I moved into my third trimester, he became absent. Even when he was physically present, he wasn't really there. I tried to talk to him about the baby, about how active she'd been that day, about needing to finish the nursery, about my fears about labor, and he'd give one-word answers while staring at his phone. I'd ask about his day and get vague responses. We stopped having real conversations. The easy intimacy we'd shared felt like it was evaporating. Sex had stopped completely. I understood that pregnancy changes things, that my body was different, that maybe I wasn't as attractive 8 months pregnant. But Marcus had always made me feel beautiful. Now he barely touched me. No kisses longer than a peck. No cuddling on the couch. He'd come to bed after I was asleep and leave before I woke up. We went from being physically affectionate constantly to being like roommates. When I tried to address it, he'd blame work stress. "I'm sorry, babe. This project is killing me. I'm just exhausted." "It's not you." And I'd believe him because I wanted to believe him. Because I was about to have his baby and I needed us to be okay. The fourth sign was his appearance. Marcus started caring more about how he looked. He'd always been a jeans and t-shirt guy, practical and low maintenance. Suddenly he was buying new clothes, nicer shirts, better-fitting pants. He started using cologne every day, a new scent I didn't recognize. He'd never worn cologne to work before. He joined a gym and started going during his lunch breaks. His hair was always perfectly styled. When I commented on it, "You look nice today," he'd shrug it off. Just trying to look more professional for client meetings. But there was something about the way he'd check himself in the mirror, the extra effort, that felt wrong. Like he was trying to impress someone. Just not me. The fifth sign was the credit card statements. I handled most of our finances since Marcus hated dealing with bills and paperwork. In July, when I was about 7 months pregnant, I noticed charges I didn't recognize. Expensive dinners at restaurants we'd never been to. Flowers from a boutique florist. Not the grocery store where he usually grabbed bouquets for me on special occasions. A hotel charge in downtown Portland. On a night I remember distinctly because I'd had a terrible day at work and Marcus said he was working late on site in Beaverton. Why would he need a hotel 30 minutes from our house? When I asked about it, he had an answer ready. Client entertainment for the Beaverton project. Had to wine and dine the property developer. The hotel was for him. He flew in from California and I put it on our card to expense later. The flowers were a thank you arrangement for his wife. All business, babe. Made sense. But why hadn't he mentioned any of this before? Why did I have to ask? The sixth sign was his mother. Carol, Marcus's mom, had been texting and calling me regularly throughout my pregnancy. She was so excited about becoming a grandmother. She'd send me articles about baby development, ask how I was feeling, plan shopping trips for baby items. We'd grown close. But around the 7-month mark, her messages changed. They became more probing. "How are you and Marcus doing? Is everything okay between you two? You'd tell me if something was wrong, wouldn't you?" I'd reassure her everything was fine, just normal pregnancy stress. But her concern planted seeds of doubt. Did Carol know something I didn't? Had Marcus said something to her? Why was she suddenly worried? The seventh and most disturbing sign came at my baby shower in early August, when I was almost 8 months pregnant. My friends and family threw me a beautiful party at my best friend Amanda's house. Games, decorations, piles of gifts for Lily. It should have been one of the happiest days of my life. Marcus showed up an hour late. He'd promised to be there at the start, but he walked in halfway through, mumbled an apology about work running over, and sat in the corner on his phone. He barely participated. He seemed irritated to be there. When people asked him questions about the baby, his answers were short, distracted. He left before we even finished opening gifts, claiming an emergency at the worksite. Amanda pulled me aside. "Sarah, is Marcus okay? He seems really disconnected." "He's just stressed about work," I said automatically. She looked at me with concern. "Honey, I've known you for 10 years. Are you okay?" I forced a smile. "I'm fine. Or fine. Just third trimester exhaustion, you know." But I wasn't fine. Something was very wrong. I could feel it in my gut, that primal intuition that women have when danger is near. Every instinct I had was screaming that something was off. But I was 8 months pregnant. I was about to have a baby. I couldn't handle my marriage falling apart. So I pushed the feelings down and kept pretending everything was normal. I told myself I was being paranoid. That pregnancy hormones were making me emotional and suspicious. That Marcus was just stressed. That once the baby came, things would go back to normal. He'd fall in love with our daughter and remember why he'd fallen in love with me. We'd be a family and everything would be okay. I desperately needed to believe that lie. The evidence started mounting in ways I couldn't ignore anymore. It was mid-August, about 3 weeks before my due date, and the signs had gone from subtle to glaring. The first major incident happened on a Tuesday night. I was exhausted from a long shift at the hospital. 8 months pregnant and on my feet for 12 hours treating sick kids takes a toll, and I came home to an empty house. Marcus had texted earlier saying he'd be home for dinner, that he'd pick up Thai food from our favorite place. I'd been looking forward to it all day. Just a quiet evening together before our lives changed forever. But he wasn't there. His text came at 6:47 p.m. "Sorry babe, work emergency. Don't wait up." Same excuse as always. But when I tried to call him to ask what he wanted me to do about dinner, the call went straight to voicemail. His phone was off. In 2 years together, Marcus never turned his phone off. He was always reachable for work. Always. I waited up anyway, my untouched Thai food going cold on the counter. He finally walked in at 1:15 a.m. I was still awake, sitting on the couch with Moose, my hand on my belly feeling Lily kick. She was active at night like she knew something was wrong. "Where were you?" I asked, trying to keep the accusation out of my voice. Marcus looked startled, like he'd expected me to be asleep. "Work. I told you. Your phone was off. Battery died. For 6 hours." He sighed like I was being unreasonable. "Sarah, I'm exhausted. Can we not do this right now? I had a long day." "So did I said quietly. "I'm 8 months pregnant and worked a 12-hour shift and came home to an empty house when you promised to be here." I said I'm sorry. His voice had an edge to it. "What else do you want from me?" That's when I started crying. Hormones, exhaustion, fear. It all bubbled over. "I want you to act like you care that we're having a baby in 3 weeks. I want you to act like you want to be here." His expression softened slightly. He sat beside me, put his arm around my shoulders. He smelled like cologne and something else. Perfume. Floral, feminine perfume that I definitely didn't wear. "I do want to be here," he said. "I'm just stressed. This project is almost done and then things will calm down. I promise." I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to believe him. So I let him hold me, and I didn't ask why he smelled like another woman's perfume. I told myself it must have been from a coworker, a hug congratulating him on something, nothing meaningful. I couldn't let myself think the alternative. The second incident was 3 days later. I woke up in the middle of the night, around 3 a.m., which was normal at that point because Lily used my bladder as a trampoline, and reached for Marcus's hand like I often did. But his side of the bed was empty, cold. He hadn't come home. Checked my phone. No messages. No missed calls. I called him 3 times. Voicemail every time. I texted, "Where are you? I'm worried." No response. I paced the house for an hour, my mind spinning through every horrible possibility. Accident. Hospital. Dead in a ditch somewhere. Finally, at 4:32 a.m., my phone buzzed. Fell asleep at the job site. We were working so late I just crashed in the trailer. Phone died again. "Sorry for scaring you." In 2 years, Marcus had never once stayed at a job site overnight. They had site trailers for the foreman, sure, but Marcus had his own office at the main firm. There was no reason for him to sleep in a construction trailer. And why did his phone always seem to die when I needed to reach him? I didn't sleep the rest of the night. I just lay there, feeling Lily move inside me, wondering what the hell was happening to my marriage. The third incident was the breaking point, the moment I knew something was definitely wrong and I couldn't keep lying to myself. It was a Saturday, August 24th. I remember the date exactly because it was exactly 2 weeks before my due date. Marcus had promised to help me finish setting up the nursery. We still needed to install the mobile above the crib, organize all the baby supplies, wash the sheets and blankets. He left the house at 10 a.m., saying he needed to run to Home Depot for some tools. "I'll be back in an hour," he promised. "Then I'm all yours for the rest of the day. We'll get everything done." An hour passed. Then 2. Then 3. I called voicemail. Texted, no response. At 2 p.m., I was beyond frustrated. I needed help. I was 8.5 months pregnant and couldn't do the physical tasks required. I called Amanda in tears. "He's not coming back, is he?" Something is wrong, Amanda. This isn't normal." "Where did he say he was going?" she asked. "Home Depot." "Which one?" I gave her the location of the one near our house. She was quiet for a moment. "Sarah, I'm coming over. And I'm bringing my laptop." When Amanda arrived 20 minutes later, she had this determined look on her face that I'd seen before when she was on a mission. "Where's his phone on your family plan? Can you check location services?" I never have. That feels like I don't trust him." "Sarah." She took my hands. "Do you trust him right now?" I started crying again. "No." We logged into our phone carrier's account. And there it was. Marcus's phone location. He wasn't at Home Depot. He was at an apartment complex in southeast Portland. He'd been there since 10:15 a.m. for 4 hours. "What apartment complex is that?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Amanda pulled up the address. A luxury building downtown. Expensive. New construction. The kind of place young professionals with no kids lived. My hands were shaking. My whole body was shaking. "He's with someone." "We don't know that for sure," Amanda said, but her voice was hollow. We both knew. Marcus walked through the door at 6:47 p.m. I was sitting on the couch where I'd been for hours, Amanda beside me, her hand on my shoulder. "Hey," he said casually, like he hadn't been gone for almost 9 hours. "Sorry that took so long. Home Depot was a mess. Then I ran into Jake from work and we grabbed lunch and—" He stopped when he saw my face. "What's wrong? Where were you really?" I asked. "I told you. Home Depot and—" "You weren't at Home Depot." My voice was steadier than I expected. "You were at an apartment building in Southeast Portland. For 4 hours. His face went white, then red. "Are you tracking me? Are you serious right now? Answer the question, Marcus. Whose apartment were you at? This is unbelievable." He was trying to turn it around, make me the bad guy. "You're spying on me. I can't believe." "Whose apartment?" I shouted, startling both of us. I never yelled. "I am 8 months pregnant with your daughter and you've been lying to me for months and I want the fucking truth." Amanda squeezed my shoulder. Marcus looked at her, then back at me, like he was calculating his next move. "A friend's," he finally said. "What friend? You don't know her." Or, the word hung in the air like a bomb. "What's her name?" Amanda asked when I couldn't find words. "That's none of your business," Marcus snapped at her. "It's absolutely my business when my best friend is 8 months pregnant and her husband is spending his Saturdays at another woman's apartment," Amanda shot back. "It's not like that," Marcus said. "She's just a friend. We work together. We were discussing the Beaverton project." "For 4 hours," I said flatly. "At her apartment. On a Saturday. It's complicated, okay? There's issues with the project that—" "Stop lying to me." I was crying now, ugly crying, the kind where you can't catch your breath. "Just stop. I'm not stupid, Marcus. I know something is going on. I've known for weeks. I just didn't want to admit it because we're about to have a baby and I needed us to be okay, but we're not okay." He stood there, silent, and I watched emotions flash across his face. Guilt, anger, something else I couldn't name. Finally he said, "I don't have to explain myself to you when you're clearly not going to believe anything I say." "That's not a denial," Amanda pointed out. Marcus grabbed his keys from the table. "I'm not doing this right now. I need some air." "Don't you dare walk out of here," I said, struggling to stand up. "Don't you dare." But he did. He walked out the door, got in his car and drove away, leaving me 8 months pregnant, sobbing on the couch while Amanda held me and whispered, "I'm so sorry, sweetie. I'm so sorry." He didn't come home that night. Or the next night. He sent one text Sunday afternoon. "Staying at my mom's. Need some space to think." Called Carol immediately. "Is Marcus there?" "No, honey. I haven't seen him." "What's going on?" So he was lying about that too. I told Carol everything. The late nights, the disconnection, the apartment, the fight. She was horrified. "I had a feeling something was wrong," she said quietly. "He's been different lately. Distant." "Oh, Sarah, I'm so sorry. What can I do?" "I don't know," I whispered. "I don't know anything anymore." Marcus finally came home Monday evening. I was in the nursery, standing in front of Lily's crib, one hand on my belly. He appeared in the doorway. "We need to talk," he said. I didn't turn around. "Okay. I'm sorry I walked out. That wasn't fair." "No, it wasn't. And I'm sorry I lied about where I was Saturday." "Who is she, Marcus?" Silence. Then, "Her name is Jessica. She works at the architecture firm we're partnering with on the Beaverton project." My heart cracked. Hearing her name made it real. "How long?" "Sarah, how long have you been sleeping with her?" "It's not It's complicated. I turned to face him then, tears streaming down my face. I am 8 months pregnant with your child and you are fucking another woman. That's not complicated. That's a choice you made. Long. He looked at the floor. 3 months. 3 months. I was 5 months pregnant when it started. When Lily was the size of a bell pepper and I was showing maternity photos to anyone who would look. When I still believed my husband loved me. When I thought we were building a family together. Do you love her? Yes. He didn't answer, which was answer enough. Get out, I said quietly. Sarah, let me explain. Get out. I screamed. Get out, get out, get out. He left. And I sank down onto the floor of my daughter's nursery, surrounded by tiny clothes and stuffed animals and all the hope I'd had for our future, and I sobbed until I couldn't breathe. That was Wednesday, August 28th. My world had officially fallen apart. But I didn't know the worst part yet. I was about to discover just how deep the betrayal went. Marcus had texted Thursday morning. Can I come by after work to get some clothes? I'll be quick. I don't want to upset you. I didn't respond. I was numb. I'd barely slept. Could barely eat. Lily was moving less than usual, probably sensing my stress. I'd called in sick to work for the first time in 2 years. I couldn't take care of sick children when I could barely take care of myself. Amanda had stayed with me Wednesday night. She'd made me tea I didn't drink, ordered food I didn't eat, and held me while I cried. In the morning, she'd gone to work but made me promise to call if I needed anything. I spent Thursday morning in a fog. Moose followed me from room to room, like he knew I was fragile. I kept thinking about Marcus and Jessica, wondering where they'd had sex. If it was in our bed. If he'd been with her and then come home and kissed me. If he'd been thinking about her while I talked about our daughter. If he'd ever really wanted this baby or if he'd just been going through the motions. Around noon, I couldn't stand being in the house anymore. Everything reminded me of him, of US, of the life I thought we had. I decided to go to my OB appointment alone. Something I'd never done before. Marcus had come to every single appointment. But he'd lost that privilege. My doctor, Dr. Chen, took one look at my face and asked if I was okay. I burst into tears in the examination room and told her everything. She held my hand and said, Sarah, stress this severe late in pregnancy can be dangerous. I need you to take care of yourself. Do you have somewhere you can stay? Someone who can be with you? He nodded. My friend Amanda. Or my parents. Good. Use your support system. And I want to see you back here Monday to check on the baby. If you have any contractions, any unusual symptoms, you call me immediately. Understood. Promised I would. Driving home from that appointment, I felt empty. Hollow. Like someone had scooped out my insides and left just the shell. I was about to become a single mother. I was going to give birth in less than 2 weeks without a partner to support me. My daughter would grow up in a broken home because her father couldn't keep his dick in his pants. I pulled into our driveway at 2:15 p.m. Marcus's car wasn't there. He'd said after work, which would be closer to 6 p.m. I walked into the house and stood in the kitchen, looking around at the life we'd built. The wedding photos on the wall. His jacket on the back of a chair. His coffee mug in the sink. Evidence of him everywhere. That's when I saw it. His iPad on the counter. He'd left it when he walked out Monday. Marcus kept his iPad synced to his phone. Same Apple ID, same messages, same everything. I'd never had a reason to look at it before. But standing there in our kitchen, 8 months pregnant and abandoned, I needed to know the full truth. My hands trembled as I picked it up. It wasn't locked. It never was at home. I opened messages. And there she was. Jessica. Hundreds of messages. Hundreds. I sat down at the kitchen table and started reading. And with every word my heart broke a little more. June 15th, when I was 5 months pregnant, Marcus. I can't stop thinking about last night, Jessica. Me either. When can I see you again? Marcus, Fun. I'll figure something out. June 28th. Jessica. Does she suspect anything? Marcus, no. She's too focused on the baby, Jessica. Good. I'm not ready to share you yet. July 10th. Marcus, I bought you something. Can you meet me at lunch? Jessica, you spoil me. I love it, Marcus. You deserve to be spoiled. The flowers I'd seen on the credit card statement. They weren't for a client's wife. They were for her. July 23rd. Jessica. I miss you. When are you leaving her? Marcus. It's complicated. The baby's coming soon, Jessica. So after the baby, Marcus, we'll figure it out. I promise. He'd been planning to leave me after I gave birth to his child. He was going to wait until I'd done the hard physical and emotional work of bringing our daughter into the world, and then abandon us. August 5th. Jessica. I love you, Marcus. I love you too. 3 simple words I hadn't heard from him in weeks. Words he was saying to her instead of me. August 15th, 3 days before my baby shower. Marcus. Can't make it tonight. She has some baby shower thing and I have to go. Jessica. You make it sound like a prison sentence, Marcus. It kind of is. All she talks about is the baby. It's exhausting, Jessica. Poor baby. I'll make it up to you tomorrow, Marcus. You'd better. I remembered that night. He'd seemed irritated to be at my baby shower. Now I knew why. He saw celebrating our daughter as a chore. An obligation keeping him from the woman he really wanted to be with. August 19th. Jessica. When are you going to tell her about us? Marcus, Fun. I'm waiting for the right time, Jessica. There's never going to be a right time. You're gonna have to just do it, Marcus. I know. After the baby's born and things settle down, Jessica. You keep saying that, Marcus. I mean it this time. I want to be with you. Really be with you. I felt like I was going to throw up. He'd been stringing her along too, making promises he may or may not have intended to keep. But the fact remained. He'd chosen her. Every single day for 3 months. He'd woken up and chosen to betray me. To betray our family. I kept reading compulsively, like picking at a scab. Every message was another knife to the heart. Details about their secret dates. Inside jokes. Plans for their future. Sexual messages that made me want to die. Photos of her. Blonde, beautiful, thin. Everything I wasn't while massively pregnant. And then I found it. The message that made everything even worse. From August 24th. The day he'd been at her apartment while claiming to be at Home Depot. Jessica. I can't believe we're looking at apartments together, Marcus. I told you I'm serious about us, Jessica. This is really happening? We're really going to move in together. Marcus. After the baby's born and I handle the divorce, yeah. This is happening, Jessica. I love you so much, Marcus. I love you too. You're my future. He'd been apartment hunting. With her. Planning his exit from our marriage while I was at home, 8 months pregnant, waiting for him to help me set up our daughter's nursery. I don't know how long I sat there reading. Hours maybe. I read every single message. Every lie, every secret, every moment he chose her over me. The timestamps showing he'd been texting her while lying in bed beside me. While I was at work saving children's lives. While I was throwing up from morning sickness. While our daughter was growing inside me. When I finally finished, it was getting dark outside. Felt nothing. The pain was so overwhelming it had gone past feeling and looped back to numbness. I was a shell. A hollow, broken shell with a baby inside. I took screenshots. Every damning message. Every photo. Every plan they'd made. I sent them all to my email. Then I sent them to Amanda with a message. You were right. It's worse than we thought. She called immediately. Oh my God, Sarah. I'm coming over. No, I said, my voice flat. I'm okay. You're not okay. I'm coming over. Amanda, I need to be alone right now. I need to process. Sarah, please. I'll call you tomorrow. Promise. I just need tonight. She reluctantly agreed, but made me swear I'd call if I needed anything. After we hung up, I walked upstairs to the nursery, to the room that should have been filled with joy and hope. I stood there in front of the crib Marcus had assembled, running my hands over the sage green walls we'd painted together, looking at the mobile with little woodland creatures that we'd picked out at Target, both of us laughing about how cute it was. This was supposed to be different. This was supposed to be happy. I was supposed to be preparing for the greatest adventure of my life with the man I loved. Instead, I was alone, pregnant and shattered. I placed both hands on my belly. Lily kicked in response, strong and insistent, like she was reminding me she was there. Like she was telling me to be strong. It's just you and me, baby girl, I whispered. But I promise you I'm going to be enough. I'm going to love you enough for both of us. You're going to be okay. We're both going to be okay. I didn't believe it yet, but I needed to say it out loud. I needed to start trying to believe it. Marcus came home at 6:30 p.m. like he'd said he would. I was waiting for him in the living room, the iPad on the coffee table in front of me. When he walked in carrying an empty duffel bag, ready to pack clothes and leave again, he saw my face and stopped. What's wrong? He asked. I laughed. Actually laughed. It was a hollow, broken sound. What's wrong? That's what you're asking me. He noticed the iPad. His face went pale. Sarah, did you know your iPad syncs to your phone? I asked conversationally like we were discussing the weather. I didn't. But I do now. I know everything now. Sarah, I can explain. Explain what? My voice was rising. Explain the hundreds of messages to Jessica. Explain how you told her you love her. Explain how you were apartment hunting with her while I was home alone, pregnant, waiting for you to help me prepare our daughter's nursery. Explain which part, Marcus. Because I have to tell you, I read every single message and I cannot for the life of me understand how any of it could be explained in a way that makes it okay. He put the duffel bag down, ran his hands through his hair. I never wanted you to find out like this. How did you want me to find out? After you filed for divorce. After you moved in with her. After our daughter was born and you just disappeared from our lives. I wasn't going to disappear. I'm still going to be Lily's father. Are you? I stood up, my belly making it awkward and difficult, but I needed to stand. Needed to not feel powerless. Because the Marcus I married, the man I thought I knew, would never do this. Would never betray his pregnant wife. Would never plan his exit while pretending everything was fine. That man wouldn't send, "I love you," texts to another woman while his wife waited at home carrying his child. So forgive me if I don't have a lot of faith in your promises about fatherhood. I do love Lily, he said, and he actually looked hurt. Like he had any right to feel hurt. That was never a question. This isn't about her. Of course it's about her. This is about the family you're destroying before she's even born. This is about the fact that she's going to grow up shuttled between houses because you couldn't keep it in your pants. This is about the fact that I'm going to have to give birth without you because I can't trust a single word out of your mouth. Sarah, I'm sorry. You're not sorry. I was shouting now, past the point of control. You're sorry you got caught. You would have kept lying to me for months if I hadn't found those messages. You would have let me give birth thinking we were going to be a family, and then what? Would you have told me in the hospital? After I came home? When Marcus? When were you planning to rip my heart out? Tears were streaming down his face. I never meant to hurt you. But you did. You hurt me in ways I didn't even know I could be hurt. And the worst part is I have to feel all of this while carrying your child. I can't even fall apart properly because I have to think about her, about keeping her safe, about not going into early labor from the stress of your betrayal. What do you want me to do? He asked. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. I want you to go back in time and not fuck another woman while your wife was pregnant. I screamed. I want you to have been the person I thought you were. I want to not be standing here 8 months pregnant and alone. But I can't have any of that, can I? So what I want now is for you to get out of my house. It's my house too, he said quietly. Then buy me out. Or I'll buy you out. Or we'll sell it. I don't care. But you're not staying here. You made your choice when you fell in love with Jessica. You chose her. So go be with her and leave me alone. Sarah, please, can we just talk about this? There's nothing to talk about. My hands were shaking so badly I had to clasp them together. You betrayed me in the worst possible way at the worst possible time. You planned your exit while I planned our daughter's future. You told another woman you loved her while I slept next to you believing you loved me. There are no words that fix this. There's no explanation that makes it okay. It's over. We're over. Our marriage is over. He was crying harder now. I don't want it to be over. You should have thought about that before you started fucking your coworker. The words hung between us, ugly and true. Marcus wiped his eyes. I never wanted to hurt you, he repeated. And yet here we are. I was so tired. So bone-deep exhausted. Pack your stuff. Whatever you can't fit in your car tonight, you can come back for when I'm at work. I don't want to see you again until we have to deal with lawyers and custody arrangements. What about Lily's birth? I want to be there. The audacity of it took my breath away. You want to be there. You want to stand beside me while I give birth after everything you've done. You want to hold my hand and pretend to support me when you've spent the last 3 months planning to leave us. She's my daughter too. Then you should have acted like it. Shouted. You should have been a father and a husband. But you weren't. You were too busy being Jessica's boyfriend. So no, Marcus, you don't get to be at the birth. You don't get to pretend to be the supportive partner when you destroyed that role months ago. You made your choice. Live with it. Sarah, get out. I pointed at the door. Now. He stood there for a long moment, looking at me like he wanted to say more. But what was left to say? Finally, he picked up his duffel bag and walked upstairs. I heard him moving around in our bedroom, opening drawers, the closet. 20 minutes later, he came back down with the bag bulging with clothes. He stopped at the door. I really am sorry. I didn't respond. Couldn't. If I spoke, I'd start crying again, and I refused to give him the satisfaction of seeing me break down again. He walked out. The door closed behind him. I heard his car start, heard him pull out of the driveway, heard the sound of his engine fading into the distance. And then I was alone. Completely, utterly alone. 8 months pregnant. Heartbroken. Betrayed. Destroyed. I sank down onto the couch and put both hands on my belly. Lily kicked a strong, solid thump against my palm. And despite everything, despite the pain and the anger and the devastation, I felt a tiny spark of something that might eventually become hope. I still had her. I was still going to be her mother. Marcus could leave me, could choose Jessica, could destroy our marriage. But he couldn't take Lily from me. She was mine. And I was going to be enough for her. I had to believe that. Because if I didn't, I had nothing left. From the overwhelming weight of becoming a mother under the worst possible circumstances. But also from a strange, fragile hope. Because when I looked at Lily, I didn't see Marcus. I didn't see betrayal or pain. I saw possibility. I saw a future. I saw a reason to keep going, to be strong, to rebuild my life into something beautiful, even if it wasn't what I'd planned. She was here. My daughter was here. And somehow that made everything else bearable. The next week was the hardest of my life. I called my parents and told them everything. My mom cried. My dad demanded Marcus's address so he could have a conversation with him. I told them I just needed support, not vigilante justice. They drove to Portland the next day just to be with me. I called my supervisor at work and asked for emergency family leave. She approved it immediately, told me to take all the time I needed. I couldn't imagine going to work, being professional, taking care of other people's children when my own life was falling apart. Amanda came over every day. She brought groceries, helped me pack up Marcus's remaining things into boxes, held me when I cried. She wanted to key his car. I told her it wasn't worth it. But I appreciated the sentiment. Carol, Marcus's mom, called sobbing. "Sarah, I'm so sorry. I didn't raise him to be like this. I'm ashamed of him. You and that baby deserve so much better." I appreciate that, Carol. Do. But I need some space right now. From him and from his family. I understand. But please, when Lily's born, I want to be in her life. She's my granddaughter. What Marcus did doesn't change that I love you both. I promised to think about it. And I would. Carol had always been good to me. She didn't deserve to lose her granddaughter because her son was an asshole. I contacted a divorce lawyer. Set up a consultation for after the baby was born. Started documenting everything, the messages, the financial irregularities, all of it. If Marcus wanted a divorce, he was going to get one. And I was going to make sure Lily and I were protected. Marcus tried to call. Multiple times. I didn't answer. He texted long apologetic messages. I didn't read them past the first line. He sent flowers. I gave them to Amanda to throw away. He showed up at the house once. I didn't answer the door. I had nothing to say to him. Every word out of his mouth was a lie. The only message I responded to was about logistics. Where to send his remaining belongings, that he needed to get his name off certain accounts, that we'd deal with the house after the baby came. Everything else was silence. I spent a lot of time in Lily's nursery. Sitting in the rocking chair we'd bought together. Hand on my belly, talking to her. Telling her about my day. Promising her things would be okay. Crying when the weight of everything became too much. My due date was September 7th. As it approached, I felt more and more alone. I was supposed to do this with Marcus. We'd planned it all. He'd drive me to the hospital, hold my hand through contractions, cut the umbilical cord, stay with me during recovery. Now I'd be doing it alone. Well, not completely alone. Amanda had volunteered to be my birth partner. I'll be there for everything. Every contraction, every push, every moment. You're not doing this by yourself. My mom wanted to be there too. So did my best friend from nursing school, Kelly. Have support. Just not from the person who was supposed to be there. The person who'd helped create this life inside me. On September 3rd, 4 days before my due date, I woke up at 2 a.m. with what I thought was indigestion. By 3 a.m. I realized they were contractions. By 4 a.m. they were 5 minutes apart. By 4:30, I was calling Amanda in a panic. It's happening. The baby's coming. I'm on my way. Call your doctor. I'll be there in 15 minutes. I called Dr. Chen's emergency line. She told me to head to the hospital. Called my mom. She said they'd meet me there. I didn't call Marcus. I didn't want him there. Didn't want him touching me, looking at me, pretending to care when he'd spent months planning to leave. Amanda arrived and loaded my hospital bag into her car. The contractions were getting stronger, longer, closer together. Lily was ready to meet the world. And I was terrified and heartbroken and completely unprepared to do this without her father. But I didn't have a choice. So I did what I had to do. I breathed through the pain, focused on the fact that soon I'd meet my daughter, and let Amanda drive me to the hospital. Labor was brutal. 18 hours of contractions that felt like my body was being ripped apart. The epidural helped but didn't eliminate the pain. I spent the whole time thinking about how this was supposed to go. How Marcus was supposed to be beside me, encouraging me, telling me I was strong, holding my hand. Instead, Amanda held my hand. My mom wiped my forehead with a cool cloth. Kelly, my nursing friend, talked me through the worst contractions with professional calm. They were wonderful. They were there for me. But they weren't him. At 8:47 p.m. on September 3, 2024, Lily Rose was born. 7 pounds 6 ounces. 20 inches long. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. The doctor placed her on my chest and I fell completely, irreversibly in love. She had dark hair like Marcus. My nose. Tiny perfect fingers that wrapped around mine. And when she opened her eyes and looked at me, I felt my heart expand in ways I didn't know were possible. "Hi, baby girl," I whispered through tears. "Hi, Lily. I'm your mama. I've been waiting so long to meet you." She made a little sound like she recognized my voice. Course she did. She'd been hearing it for 9 months. And despite everything that had happened, despite the pain and betrayal and heartbreak, in that moment I felt pure joy. Amanda was crying. My mom was crying. Kelly was crying. We were all crying, watching this tiny perfect human take her first breaths in the world. They let me hold her for an hour skin to skin, while she tried to nurse for the first time. She latched on like a pro, this fierce little fighter who'd been growing inside me while my world fell apart. And I thought, Marcus has no idea what he's missing. He chose to miss this. He chose Jessica over being here for the birth of his daughter. That was his loss. His profound, devastating loss. Later that night, after they'd moved me to a recovery room and Lily was sleeping in the bassinet beside my bed, I sent Marcus a text. The first communication I'd initiated since I'd kicked him out. Lily Rose was born at 8:47 p.m. 7 pounds 6 ounces. Healthy. We're both fine. His response came immediately. "Can I come see her?" I stared at the message for a long time. Part of me wanted to say no. Wanted to punish him by keeping him from his daughter. But Lily deserved to know her father, even if he was a terrible husband. So I wrote back. "Tomorrow. 10 a.m. 1 hour. Don't bring Jessica." "I wouldn't. Thank you, Sarah. And congratulations. I'm sure she's beautiful." I didn't respond to that. I put my phone down, looked at my sleeping daughter, and let myself cry. Not from sadness this time. From exhaustion. From relief that she was here and healthy. From the overwhelming weight of becoming a mother under the worst possible circumstances. But also from a strange, fragile hope. Because when I looked at Lily, I didn't see Marcus. I didn't see betrayal or pain. I saw possibility. I saw a future. I saw a reason to keep going, to be strong, to rebuild my life into something beautiful even if it wasn't what I'd planned. She was here. My daughter was here. And somehow that made everything else bearable. Marcus came the next morning at exactly 10 a.m. I was sitting up in the hospital bed, Lily in my arms, when he knocked softly on the door. I'd asked my mom and Amanda to wait in the cafeteria, to give him privacy with his daughter. This first meeting shouldn't be witnessed by people who hated him. "Come in," I said. He stepped into the room and his eyes went immediately to Lily. His expression transformed. Pure wonder, love, awe. He walked slowly to the bed like he was afraid to get too close and stared at his daughter. "Sarah," he breathed. "She's perfect." "Yes," I agreed. "She is. Can I hold her?" I wanted to say no. Wanted to protect her from him. From the possibility that he'd hurt her the way he'd hurt me. But I couldn't do that. So I carefully transferred Lily into his arms, showed him how to support her head, and watched him cradle his daughter for the first time. He was crying. Silent tears streaming down his face as he looked at her. "Hi, Lily," he whispered. "Hi, sweetheart. I'm your dad. I'm so sorry I wasn't here when you were born. I'm so sorry." Despite everything, watching him hold her cracked something in my chest. This should have been a happy moment. We should have been laughing, taking photos, marveling at what we'd created together. Instead, there was this massive chasm between us, filled with lies and betrayal and broken promises. Lily made a small sound and Marcus smiled through his tears. "She's so beautiful. She looks like you. She has your hair," I pointed out. "Yeah." He ran a gentle finger over her dark curls. "But everything else is you." We sat in silence for a while. Him holding Lily, me watching them both. Finally he said, "Sarah, I am so sorry. For everything. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I need you to know I never wanted this to happen." "But it did happen," I said quietly. "You made choices. Every single day for 3 months, you chose to betray me. You don't accidentally have an affair, Marcus. You don't accidentally fall in love with someone else. Those were deliberate decisions." "I know. Do you? Because you keep apologizing like this was something that happened to you instead of something you did. You weren't a passive participant. You actively destroyed our family." He closed his eyes, still holding Lily. "You're right. I did. And I have to live with that." "We all have to live with it," I corrected. "Lily will grow up shuttled between houses because of your choices. I have to figure out how to co-parent with someone I can't trust. Your mom is heartbroken. My parents are furious. Amanda wants to key your car. Everyone in our lives is dealing with the fallout of what you did." "I'll do better," he said. "I want to be a good father to her. I want to be there for her." "Then be there," I said simply. "Show up. Be consistent. Put her first. That's all I can ask." We worked out basic logistics before his hour was up. He'd come by the house once we were home to see Lily. We'd set up a schedule. He'd pay child support. I wasn't going to fight him on that. Lily deserved financial support from both parents. We'd work out custody once I'd healed from birth. When he left, he kissed Lily's forehead and said, "I love you, sweet girl. I'll see you soon." Then he looked at me. "Sarah, I know I have no right to ask this, but is there any chance you could ever forgive me?" Thought about it. Really thought about it. "Maybe someday," I said honestly. "For Lily's sake, I hope I can. But right now I'm just trying to survive. I'm trying to figure out how to be a mom when everything hurts. I'm trying to heal from what you did. Forgiveness feels impossible right now." He nodded. "I understand. And I really am sorry. For whatever it's worth." "It's worth something," I admitted. "Not enough. But something." After he left, my mom and Amanda came back. Amanda immediately asked, "How did it go? Do I need to go slash his tires?" "No," I said, laughing despite myself. "He was actually human. Broken but human. He loves her. I could see it. "That's good," my mom said, settling into the chair beside my bed. "Lily deserves a father who loves her, even if he failed as a husband." And that was the thing, wasn't it? Marcus had failed me completely. But maybe he could still be a good father. I had to give him the chance to try, for Lily's sake. We came home from the hospital 2 days later. The house felt different now. Both emptier without Marcus and fuller with Lily. My mom stayed for 2 weeks to help. Then my dad came for another week. Then Amanda was there every evening. I was surrounded by support, which was the only reason I survived those first brutal weeks of new motherhood. The sleep deprivation was intense. Lily woke every 2 hours to eat. My body ached from labor. I was bleeding, exhausted, overwhelmed. But every time I looked at her little face, every time she wrapped her tiny hand around my finger, I felt that fierce protective love that made everything else fade into background noise. Marcus came by 3 times a week. He'd hold Lily, talk to her, change her diaper. He bought her things. Too many things, like he was trying to make up for his absence with material goods. I let him because arguing took energy I didn't have. But I also started putting boundaries in place. He couldn't just drop by whenever. He needed to schedule time. He couldn't bring Jessica around. I didn't care if they were together, but she wasn't meeting my daughter. Not yet. Maybe not ever. He agreed to everything. He was being compliant, almost meek, like he knew he had no leverage. Hired a lawyer. Filed for divorce. The papers would be served soon. Our marriage was over. We were just going through the legal motions now. The divorce was surprisingly straightforward. Marcus didn't fight me on anything. I got the house. He'd move out fully, and we'd refinance in my name only. We'd split other assets 50-50. He'd pay child support and we'd have joint custody, though Lily would live primarily with me until she was older. Jessica, I learned through the rumor mill, Amanda had friends who knew people at Marcus's firm, didn't take the baby news well. Apparently, she'd thought Marcus would leave me and they'd start fresh. Instead, he had a newborn daughter and serious co-parenting responsibilities. The fairy tale she'd envisioned crumbled when faced with the reality of dating a new dad. They broke up 6 weeks after Lily was born. Marcus told me during one of his visits, like he thought it would change something between us. "Jessica and I aren't together anymore," he said, not meeting my eyes. "Okay," I said, bouncing Lily gently. "I just thought you should know." "Why?" He looked confused. "Because maybe. I don't know. Maybe we could try again. Start over." Actually laughed. "Marcus, no. We're not starting over. You destroyed our marriage. The fact that your affair didn't work out doesn't change what you did." "But I made a mistake." "You made hundreds of mistakes," I corrected. "Every lie was a choice. Every secret was a decision. And now you get to live with the consequences. We both do. But that doesn't mean we get back together." He looked devastated, which was almost funny. What did he expect? That I'd take him back because his mistress dumped him? "I still love you," he said quietly. "I don't believe you," I replied. "And even if I did, it wouldn't matter. Love isn't enough when there's no trust. I can't ever trust you again, Marcus. Every time you'd be late from work, I'd wonder. Every text message, every phone call, every business trip. I'd always be wondering if you were lying. That's no way to live. I would never cheat again. You said you'd never cheat in the first place when we got married. Those vows meant nothing to you. Why would your promises mean anything now?" He didn't have an answer to that. From that point on, our relationship became purely functional. Co-parents, nothing more. He saw Lily regularly, paid his child support on time, was actually showing up as a father. But the man I'd married, the person I'd trusted and loved, was gone. Maybe he'd never really existed. Maybe I'd just seen what I wanted to see. Lily is 8 months old now, the same age gestational as when I discovered Marcus's betrayal. The symmetry isn't lost on me. But my life now is so different from the nightmare I lived last August. I went back to work after 12 weeks of leave. It was hard leaving Lily with daycare, but I needed to work. Needed the structure, the purpose, the financial independence. I'm a good nurse. Helping sick kids and their families gives me a sense of meaning beyond motherhood. I moved forward with the divorce. It was finalized last month. I'm officially single again. Free. The house is entirely mine. I painted the bedroom. Got rid of any trace of Marcus. Turned his office into a playroom for Lily. Made this space ours. I started therapy 6 months ago. Working through the betrayal, the trauma, the grief of losing the life I thought I'd have. Helps. Not every day is good, but I'm learning to carry the pain without letting it destroy me. I'm learning that I can be a good mother even though I'm heartbroken. I'm learning that my worth isn't determined by whether my husband stayed or left. Lily is the light of my life. She's rolling over now, sitting up trying to crawl. She has 4 teeth and the best belly laugh. She looks more like Marcus every day, but when I see his features in her face, I don't feel pain anymore. Just love for her. She's not responsible for his choices. She's perfect and innocent and mine. Marcus is an okay father. Not great, but okay. He sees her every Tuesday and Thursday evening and every other weekend. He's learning to be consistent, to show up. His mom Carol is very involved. She comes by once a week to spend time with Lily, and I've forgiven her for Marcus's sins. She's a good grandmother. I've started dating again. Nothing serious, just coffee here and there. It's terrifying learning to trust again. But I'm trying. I'm choosing hope over fear, even when it's hard. My support system saved me. Amanda, who was there through every moment of the worst period of my life. My parents, who dropped everything to help me. Kelly and my other nursing friends, who brought meals and offered babysitting. My community rallied around me, and their love helped me survive. I've learned things I never wanted to know. I've learned that you can love someone completely and still have them betray you. I've learned that happily ever after isn't guaranteed, no matter how hard you try. I've learned that some people lie easily, that trust can be shattered in an instant but takes years to rebuild. But I've also learned that I'm stronger than I knew, that I can survive betrayal and heartbreak and still be a good mother, that I can rebuild my life from the ashes of my marriage, that my daughter doesn't need a perfect family. She just needs to be loved, and she is. So deeply loved. To anyone reading this who's been through something similar, who's felt the ground disappear beneath their feet, who's discovered betrayal at the worst possible time, who's had to be strong when everything in them wanted to collapse, I see you. I know how much it hurts. I know how impossible it seems to survive. But you can. You will. Not because you want to, but because you have to. Because you have a child depending on you, or a life waiting for you, or just because you're stronger than you think. Some days I'm angry. Some days I cry. Some days I wonder what would have happened if I'd never looked at that iPad, if I'd stayed in ignorance, if I'd let him leave on his timeline instead of forcing the truth into the open. But mostly I'm grateful. Grateful that I found out. Grateful that I didn't waste more years with someone who didn't value me. Grateful that Lily will grow up seeing her mother as strong and independent, not as someone who accepted betrayal. Marcus didn't break me. He tried. God knows he tried. But I'm still here. I'm still standing. I'm still Lily's mother, still a nurse, still a person with value and worth and a future. I am not defined by his betrayal. I am defined by how I survived it. And if you're going through something similar, please know, you are not alone. You are not broken beyond repair. You are stronger than your worst day. And there is life, good life, happy life, waiting for you on the other side of this pain. It won't be the life you planned, but it can still be beautiful. Different but beautiful. Lily just woke up from her nap. I can hear her babbling in her crib. Happy sounds that make my heart swell. In a minute, I'll go get her. We'll play on the floor with her favorite toys. Maybe we'll go for a walk in the park. Maybe we'll FaceTime with my mom. It'll be a normal, boring, wonderful evening. This is my life now. Not what I imagined. Not what I planned. But it's mine. And I'm choosing to make it beautiful. For Lily. And for me. 'Cause we both deserve that. If you've experienced betrayal, especially during pregnancy or other vulnerable times, please know you're not alone. Share your story in the comments if you're comfortable. Sometimes just being heard helps the healing begin. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share for more stories like this.